Chapter 2231 Black Water Dragon Emperor Bai had reached the second stage of the seventh step back during the first era. Even when the first era collapsed, he had not been able to reach the ultimate stage of the seventh step and spent quite some time in the second era before he broke through. He had spent an entire era, countless treasures, to finally reach the base requirements for his breakthrough. But Jian Wushuang? It was not long since he reached the second stage of his inverse cultivation's seventh step. But now he had reached the ultimate stage. Jian Wushuang, your speed of progress is really enviable, Emperor Bai exclaimed. Ha ha, I was just lucky, Jian Wushuang casually laughed it off. Emperor Bai frowned. You must have received some sort of amazing opportunity. To him, without such an opportunity, it was impossible for Jian Wushuang to reach such a breakthrough. And that was indeed the case. Emperor Bai knew it, but he did not intend to probe more. Previously you said you encountered an ancient era expert. Tell me what happened? Emperor Bai asked. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate and described his experience in the real martial arts divine church. Three ancient era experts? Emperor Bai's eyes narrowed. What happened to the three of them? I killed two of them, the other one now my sword servant via soul control. Jian Wushuang did not conceal anything. Emperor Bai was shocked, but soon he was relieved. Before reaching the ultimate stage, Jian Wushuang's fighting power was already very aggressive. Emperor Bai knew how much one's fighting power would increase by the moment he stepped into the ultimate stage. Jian Wushuang now definitely possessed ancient era expert slaying abilities. Emperor Bai, you mentioned a two previously? What's happening? There are others that encountered ancient era experts? Jian Wushuang asked. Yep. Emperor Bai nodded. 300 years ago, at the Colored Glaze Sanctuary, Colored Glaze herself seemed to have encountered an ancient era expert. Seemed? Jian Wushuang frowned. I say seemed because we are not sure. Colored Glaze wanted to engage him, but the opponent simply glanced at her, and she lost the courage to make her move. According to her, the opponent's aura was extremely terrifying, and she would have died without a struggle if she had engaged him, Emperor Bai said. Oh. Jian Wushuang frowned. He knew about Great Emperor Colored Glaze. She was an elite first-stage Great Emperor. If she had encountered a second-stage Great Emperor, she would have been so scared as to lose courage. The opponent could make her feel that way. It meant that the opponent was definitely a decent third-stage Great Emperor, possibly Pinnacle, and definitely not weaker than Jian Er's two elder brothers. I asked Colored Glaze personally. She said the opponent's aura felt very similar to mine, Emperor Bai said. Then it has to be an ancient era expert, Jian Wushuang said. The top two experts of the eternal chaotic world were Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai. There was no other third-stage Great Emperor besides the two of them. The restrictions on the second era were too powerful, making it hard to produce third-stage Great Emperors. Under those circumstances, there was only one logical explanation for an expert's fighting powers to be similar to Emperor Bai's. The opponent was from the ancient era. He should be an ancient era expert, but we cannot be sure. Luckily, the opponent did not engage or stir up any mess within the Colored Glaze Sanctuary, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang nodded. As long as terrifying ancient era experts did not stir up any trouble within the eternal chaotic world, the Sanctuary Alliance would not provoke them. Like Emperor 13, in the beginning, no one had known what he wanted to do nor how powerful he was. As long as he did not provoke the Sanctuary Alliance, they did not care. Even if Emperor 13 were to start a slaughter within the eternal chaotic world, as long as it was not out of hand, the Sanctuary Alliance would not care. Besides the suspected ancient era expert Colored Glaze saw, there was another incident 30 years ago at the Red Dragon Sanctuary, Emperor Bai said. What was it? Jian Wushuang asked. It was a city. A lot of cultivators disappeared within the city in a short period of time, leaving an aura of coldness that covered the city in a layer of ice, Emperor Bai said. This stirred some waves in the Red Dragon Sanctuary then, but Red Dragon himself was not particularly bothered by it. But afterwards, two other cities and a sect suffered the same treatment. Red Dragon started treating it seriously, and after some research, they realized it was the work of a black water dragon. Black water dragon? Jian Wushuang's gaze moved, but something about it felt familiar. Afterwards, 5 years ago, when the black water dragon made its move on another city again, Red Dragon was able to reach there in time, but in the end, Red Dragon almost got himself killed by the Black Water Dragon, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. Red Dragon King had been ranked second in the Heaven and Earth Supreme ranking list in the past. Though the list needed some refreshing, he still possessed second stage Great Emperor powers. But Red Dragon King was almost killed? How powerful was that Black Water Dragon? Emperor Bai, did Red Dragon King have any projected image of the Black Water Dragon? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, Red Dragon recorded it himself, Emperor Bai said, and took out a token. With a wave, a large projected image appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed as he watched the projected image. 2232 Why the First Era Collapsed Part 1 It's it. Jian Wushuang could not help but clench his fists as a fit of rising anger surrounded him. Jian Wushuang, have you come across this Black Water Dragon? Emperor Bai asked. Of course I've seen it. Jian Wushuang watched Red Dragon King via projected image as he fought the Black Water Dragon furiously. The Black Water Dragon was massive, constantly spitting out cold air, easily freezing all mighties upon contact. Jian Wushuang could not help but recall the years when he had been in the deepest parts of the Buddhist Demon Sea. There, he had seen the exact same Black Dragon. Since the Black Water Dragon appeared, the ancient era expert behind it has probably awakened as well, and lurking around the Red Dragon Sanctuary, Jian Wushuang murmured. Jian Wushuang, you mean there is an ancient era expert behind the dragon? Emperor Bai frowned. The Black Water Dragon in the projected image was terrifying. No one other than strong third-stage great emperors could have engaged it. Now, there was an ancient era expert behind the dragon? Emperor Bai, I've seen it, I know where it comes from. Jian Wushuang started describing his experience. VAR Axid 6327 document element biodexide 6327 MSSP 6327-math floor date now. Windowed at Pubikstag windowed Pubikstag Buddhist Demon Sea? The dragon? Emperor Bai was shocked. As far as I know, there are at least 2 ancient era experts in slumber within the Buddhist Demon Sea. One of them is One-Star Man, likely from the 7-star Black Sect. He's indebted to me. He would not hurt the eternal chaotic world even if he did awaken. But another person, the owner of the Black Water Dragon, from the 7-star Black Sect's opposing camp is there too. From how the dragon behaves, I don't think the person's friendly, Jian Wushuang said. Emperor Bai nodded subtly. Colored Glaze encountered a suspected ancient era expert previously, then one at Red Dragon Sanctuary, then 3 more you encountered yourself. Looks like a lot of ancient era experts are awakening, Emperor Bai said. Indeed, because they all received a transmission. 3,900 years later, someone will open a link passage at the heavens horizon for them to return to absolute beginning divine world. Jian Wushuang said. Absolute beginning divine world? Looks like you know everything. Emperor Bai looked at Jian Wushuang and could tell he had been aware of it for quite some time already. Jian Wushuang nodded. Absolute beginning divine world, the beginning of everything, Emperor Bai sighed. The link to the absolute beginning divine world will finally be reopened again? Jian Wushuang's gaze moved. Emperor Bai, you mean the link had been opened once before? Emperor Bai fell quiet for a moment and nodded. Indeed, a long time ago, during the First Era. It happened at Heaven's Horizon as well. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank. Jian Wushuang, as you know, I was from the First Era, but did you know how the First Era collapsed? Emperor Bai asked. Jian Wushuang shook his head consciously. He knew why the ancient era had collapsed from Jian. It was due to absolute beginning divine world's various sects attacking 7-star divine realm, leading to the collapse of that. But Jian Wushuang never knew why the First Era had collapsed. Does it have to do with the link passage at the Heaven's Horizon? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, that link passage, Emperor Bai said. In the First Era, after the link passage opened at the Heaven's Horizon, there were no ancient era experts that woke up. But on the other end of the passage, from the absolute beginning divine world, a large group of experts came barging in. What? Jian Wushuang was shocked. You mean, there were experts from the absolute beginning divine world in the First Era? Yes, Emperor Bai paused, and said, the link passage closed the moment they arrived, and they started slaughtering the First Era. Slaughter. Jian Wushuang's face darkened. Jian Wushuang, You should know why the ancient era collapsed, and how this land came to be. The land we are on now was originally part of the 7-star divine realm. Although the 7-star divine realm has collapsed, it is undeniable that this land came from the 7-star divine realm, and we are cultivators born from the 7-star divine realm. When the experts from the absolute beginning divine world attacked the 7-star divine realm, they wanted all 7-star divine realm cultivators dead. Why would the experts from the first era let us off the hook? They wanted to wipe every one of us from the first era out, then link up with the other experts at the absolute beginning divine world to destroy the formation. They would wake all the ancient era experts up and kill them all, wiping out the 7-star black sect completely. Jian Wushuang's gaze turned cold. Wiping away all traces of the 7-star black sect and the 7-star divine realm. Jian Wushuang was amazed by the ruthlessness of those experts. The first era was much more powerful than the second era, and experts then could naturally sense the enemy's purpose. So, the war began. Emperor Bai continued. Experts that came from the absolute beginning divine world were minimally chaotic divine demons. Luckily, the restrictions on this earth were placed upon them as well, and only then were the cultivators of the first era able to put up a fight. That battle took 5 days and 5 nights. Jian Wushuang, you would not be able to imagine how terrifying that fight was, way worse than the one we had with 3 Emperors World. Especially at the end, cultivators ignited their souls or self-imploded, regardless of cost, all to defeat the enemy, and that led to decimation on both sides. 2233 Why the First Era Collapsed Part 2 Perished Together? Jian Wushuang was amazed. Indeed, both sides perished. Countless First Era cultivators and many great emperors died on the same battlefield, leading to the collapse of the First Era. But only 3 experts that came from the absolute beginning divine world survived, Emperor Bai said. 3. Were they? Jian Wushuang suddenly glared. You guessed it. It's Blood Emperor, Lord Fen, and Demon King Chen Yu, Emperor Bai said. It really is. Jian Wushuang was astonished. He had always thought Blood Emperor, Lord Fen, and Demon King Chen Yu were ancient era experts that had woken up slightly earlier than others. Unexpectedly, those 3 people had not slept since the ancient era. Perhaps they had fought in the ancient era, then escaped, and come back once again during the first era. They survived since the first era but did not stop. Rather, they continued to expand their sphere of influence for the upcoming battles. Therefore, the beginning of the 3 Emperors World, Holocaust Sect, and the Akron Palace. They only managed to maintain their abilities with large amounts of resources and treasures, Emperor Bai said. VAR Axid 6327 Document Element by Exercise 6327 SSP 6327-Math Floor Date Now. Windowed at Pubic Stag Windowed Pubic Stag Windowed Pubic Stag Jian Wushuang finally understood, but his face turned sour. The last time the link passage at Heaven's Horizon opened, experts from the absolute beginning divine world came down. Will the same thing happen this time? That is what I worry about, Emperor Bai replied. There were many experts in the first era to go against the absolute beginning divine world experts, but they had no choice but to perish with them. The second era does not nearly have so many experts, along with the injuries we inflicted during the battle against the 3 Emperors World. If the absolute beginning divine world experts were to come down, we wouldn't stand a chance. Jian Wushuang's face was extremely sour. He knew how big the ability gap was compared to the first era. Emperor Bai and he may have been strong, but if a large number of third-stage great emperors were to gang up on them, there was not much they could do. Do not rush this first. We still have 3,900 years. Furthermore, we cannot be sure if any experts will come down or not, Jian Wushuang said, and took out a transmission token. Emperor 13 was the strongest during the ancient era. He should know more about the formation placed on this land. I'll go ask him. Emperor 13. Jian Wushuang immediately called him. What is it? Emperor 13 quickly replied, his voice cold as usual. It's like this. Jian Wushuang talked about the link passage opening 3,900 years later, and many ancient era experts awakening. He also talked about the eternal chaotic world's current predicament. Link passage? Emperor 13 thought for a moment, and replied, don't worry about that. The formation is not as simple as it looks. If those old bastards managed to open a space tunnel back then and send their experts over, then the formation's restrictions would have been much stronger now. Even if all of them at the absolute beginning divine world were to join forces, they would still need some good treasures to open a link passage, and it'll only last for a moment.
There is no way they could open it,
Emperor 13 said with unprecedented confidence.
Jian Wushuang heaved a sigh of relief.
Emperor 13 was a supreme expert back at the absolute beginning divine world and knows the most about the formation. If he dares say that, I'm sure no one from the absolute beginning divine world will come down once the link passage opens 3,900 years later, Jian Wushuang said.
That's great, Emperor Bai was delighted.
As long as they don't come down, we only need to deal with ancient era experts that recently woke up. A lot of them will be busy maintaining their powers as well. There won't be many attacking us, which should make our job much easier.
Right. Jian Wushuang nodded.
Without any experts coming down from the absolute beginning divine world, they only needed to deal with the ancient era experts. It may have been hard for the eternal chaotic world as of then, but not impossible. After all, Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai were invincible in the world. Unless another supreme expert like Emperor 13 appeared. But supreme experts like Emperor 13 should have been able to escape during the ancient era battle then. Based on Jian Wushuang's calculations, only experts of Blood Emperor's level remained. Without the opposing Blood formation, Blood Emperor's fighting power was only at half-step Divine Demon levels, easy enough for Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai to deal with.
Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai were still discussing it. But at that moment, Emperor Bai's gaze moved. What is it? Jian Wushuang immediately looked over.
It's Red Dragon. He just transmitted a message to me. He says the Black Water Dragon has appeared again. Many cultivators in another city have disappeared. I've instructed Abysmal Saint Master and Underworld God to help him, but the three of them together may not be enough against the Black Water Dragon, and the ancient era expert behind it, Emperor Bai said. True, for us to kill it or the ancient era expert behind it, both of us must go down personally, Jian Wushuang said.
If that's the case, let's go now, Emperor Bai said.
Right.
Jian Wushuang nodded.
Soon, Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai made their way to the Red Dragon Sanctuary. Chapter 2234 Three-way split up Red Dragon Sanctuary, at a northern city. That city was not spectacular amongst the Red Dragon Sanctuary's many cities, but it had countless cultivators nevertheless. But now, the city fell silent. It was a dead city now. Within the city walls, the tall and mighty buildings remained standing, but they were swept with a coldness, frosting them all with a layer of ice. It was as if the entire city had frozen up. At the top void above the city, three figures stood in a line. They were Red Dragon King, Abysmal Saint Master, and Underworld God. They rushed over as soon as they heard the news, but obviously they were too late. The city had already frozen up by the time they had arrived. Everyone has vanished, just like before. That dragon again. Red Dragon King clenched his fist, and his face turned green with anger. We came here as fast as we could, but still we were too late, Abysmal Saint Master frowned. Abysmal Saint Master and Underworld God had received instructions from Emperor Bai to help Red Dragon King. The dragon is not to be messed with. I've transmitted to Emperor Bai. He should be on his way. Let's wait here in the meantime, Red Dragon King said. They waited above the city. Not long later, two figures were leaping over from a distance. The trio went up to greet them. Lord Emperor Bai, Sword Emperor. The trio bowed and looked at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. They had only expected Emperor Bai to come, but Jian Wushuang had followed as well. Red Dragon, how was it? Emperor Bai asked. We were too late. The Black Water Dragon had left long ago. All the cultivators in the city have disappeared. Must have all been eaten up by the dragon, Red Dragon King said. Eaten up? Emperor Bai and Jian Wushuang were taken aback. They knew that the cultivators from the previous few cities, and from that sect, were all eaten up by the Black Water Dragon. Human cultivators were food to the Black Water Dragon. As of now, 5 cities and 1 sect worth of cultivators have been eaten up by the Black Water Dragon. If this persists, the Red Dragon Sanctuary will come to an end, Red Dragon King said. He was right. Only 30 years had passed since the appearance of the Black Water Dragon, but 5 cities and 1 sect had already been attacked. And even though the Red Dragon Sanctuary was extremely large with over 1,000 cities, if the Black Water Dragon kept eating up its cultivators, What would happen to the Red Dragon Sanctuary eventually? The Black Water Dragon has quite a history. Should be from the ancient era, with an ancient era expert behind it, Emperor Bai said. Ancient era expert. The trio's faces darkened. They had assumed they were only going against the dragon. They did not expect an ancient era expert to be behind it. How the Black Water Dragon acts hurts the Sanctuary Alliance, therefore it cannot be allowed to stay. Jian Wushuang and I are here to take care of the dragon, and if we can, to take care of the ancient era expert behind it as well, Emperor Bai said coldly. Red Dragon King was elated. Even with his abilities combined with Abysmal Saint Master and Underworld God, they could not do much to the dragon, much less the ancient era expert. But if Emperor Bai and Jian Wushuang were to be in the picture, the whole game could change. With Emperor Bai and Sword Emperor's abilities combined, taking care of the Black Water Dragon and its ancient era expert behind it should be easy. The problem is we don't even know where they went, Red Dragon King said. I rush over every time I catch news regarding a Black Water Dragon attack, but before I can arrive the dragon will have left a long time ago. I was lucky 5 years ago, being in a city near the one the dragon was attacking, but I was not enough to take it down. Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai looked at each other. Indeed, they do not know where the Black Water Dragon nor its ancient era expert were, and looking for them within the enormous Red Dragon Sanctuary would be like picking a needle from the haystack. The only thing they could do was to wait for the Black Water Dragon to make its next move and hope to get there on time. How about we get a few great emperors from the Sanctuary Alliance and spread them around, but keep them in contact with us? Regardless of which city or sect the dragon tries to attack, the nearby great emperor could at least try to buy us some time for us to go over, Abysmal Saint Master said. Not possible, Jian Wushuang shook his head. The Black Water Dragon is powerful, even the Red Dragon was nearly killed by it. If an ordinary first stage were to engage it, he'd definitely die. Emperor Bai and Red Dragon King nodded in agreement. If the Black Water Dragon could almost kill a second stage Great Emperor like Red Dragon King, getting a first stage Great Emperor to engage it would be sending him to his death. How about this? We won't use the Sanctuary Alliance's experts. Just a few of us will do the job. We'll split into 3 teams at most, Jian Wushuang said. Emperor Bai and I will be our own teams individually. From how the Black Water Dragon fought Red Dragon King in the projected image, the dragon is at 3rd stage Great Emperor levels. It may be strong, but it may not be pinnacle 3rd stage. Emperor Bai and I can handle him by ourselves. For the last team, Red Dragon King, Abysmal, Underworld God, along with my 2 sword servants. 5 people should be enough to fight the dragon face on. 2 sword servants. Abysmal looked towards Jian Wushuang in surprise. Sword Emperor, I thought you only had Jian Yi. When did you find another one? Ha ha, a new one, and he's pretty strong. Jian Wushuang said as he released Jian from his Blood Mountain sword. As Jian appeared, a strong aura exuded from him. Chapter 2235 Reappearance. This is 3rd stage Great Emperor. Abysmal Saint Master, Red Dragon King, and Underworld God were shocked by the aura exuded by Jian, a 3rd stage Great Emperor. Before him there had only been 2 of such Great Emperors, Emperor Bai and Jian Wushuang. But now, Jian Wushuang's new sword servant was a 3rd stage Great Emperor. His name is Jian fought me before I soul controlled him. He's injured because of me, so his fighting powers are only at 70. It's still at the 3rd stage. With Jian Yi and the 3 of you, it's more than enough to handle the Black Water Dragon, but be wary of the ancient era expert behind it, Jian Wushuang said. Understood, Abysmal Saint Master and the rest nodded. Jian Wushuang transmitted for Jian Yi to rush for the Red Dragon Sanctuary. Once everyone was there, they split up. They divided themselves into 3, watching 3 parts of the Red Dragon Sanctuary. Red Dragon Sanctuary was a large sanctuary after all, with vast lands. 3 teams made it easier to take care of. Coupled with various wormholes all over the Red Dragon Sanctuary, the 3 teams simply guarded the 3 largest wormholes. Red Dragon Sanctuary transmitted messages to all almighties and some real gods as well, especially those experts that had guarded cities for years. They were to report to him directly if they were to encounter anything wrong within the city, or if the Black Water Dragon appeared, or if they felt a wave of coldness approaching them. From there, the team guarding that region would rush there immediately. That wouldn't guarantee they would catch the black water dragon, but it would certainly increase their chances of doing so. Jian Wushuang and the rest waited quietly. They did not wait for too long. 3 years later, the black water dragon appeared again, attacking a city. That city fell within Jian Wushuang's guarding domain and he rushed over as soon as he could. But he was still too slow. The black water dragon had just left. As he looked over the silent city now frosted in ice, Jian Wushuang could only shake his head and sigh. 2 years later, the black water dragon appeared again in Jian Wushuang's territory, but Jian Wushuang did not reach it in time. Just another year later, the black water dragon appeared in Jian Yi and Jian Er's territory, but it ended up the same. Since Jian Wushuang and the rest had split up, the black water dragon had attacked thrice. 3 different cities, but they could never catch up in time. 3 times, we've failed thrice, Red Dragon King sighed. We don't have a choice, the sanctuary is simply too wide. We may be able to split ourselves into teams, then move around via wormholes, but those wormholes don't reach there directly, we still need to change along the way. That takes a lot of time, Abysmal Saint Master sighed. No rush, we may have missed 3 times, but luck simply was not on our side, for the black water dragon was simply too far from us. I don't believe its luck will last long, Emperor Bai said. Red Dragon King and the rest nodded. Indeed, like how Red Dragon King had managed to encounter the black water dragon previously. Though their chances of catching the black water dragon had increased as they had split into teams, they still needed some luck. Right. Have you realized the black water dragon's appetite is growing? Jian Wushuang suddenly said. Of course, it used to appear once every few decades or so, then every 5 years, then 3, now it appears every year. Seems like it fancies how our cultivators taste, Red Dragon King said. The bigger its appetite, the sooner it'll die, wait till I use its bones for soup. Emperor Bai snorted. The few elites of the Sanctuary Alliance, along with Jian Wushuang's 2 sword servants, continued to wait along the Red Dragon Sanctuary. A vast plain. An endless plain. On the plain, an eerie man in black armor was walking forward slowly. His pace was slow, holding a tree branch to act as his walking stick. He had trouble walking. On the shoulders of this eerie man was a small black snake. Upon closer look, the black snake was covered in dark scales and had a little horn on its head. Suddenly, the snake hissed coldly. The eerie man stopped in his tracks and looked towards the small black snake. You're hungry again? The eerie man laughed casually. The black snake on his shoulders had an eerie gaze in its eyes. Okay, I know you've been holding up previously. I'll let you eat till you're contented now. There should be a cultivator's city in front. Come back early, the eerie man instructed. The snake hissed excitedly and slid off the eerie man's shoulder. The small snake morphed into a bolt of lightning and headed for the city nearby. The eerie man smiled, and he sat down with his eyes shut as if he was waiting. After a while, the black snake appeared in front of the giant city. The city was one of the largest ones within the Red Dragon Sanctuary, with countless cultivators, and an almighty. The little black snake could not contain its excitement. Suddenly, Wong! The small black snake's body was expanding at an alarming rate. Instantly, it became an enormous ancient flood dragon, dark scales covered all over it. It exuded an eerie aura and revealed its 2 sharp and cold fangs. Immediately, a terrifying coldness rolled over the city. The entire city shook. Jian Wushuang and the others who had been waiting within the Red Dragon Sanctuary had received the news. The Black Water Dragon was back. Chapter 2236 Emperor Bai makes his move again? It's only been half a year. Jian Wushuang was the first to receive the news, and at the same time he knew where the Black Water Dragon was. A vast star map appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Divine Blade City, here. Jian Wushuang looked at one of the cities in the star map. It's within Emperor Bai's domain, and is not too far from it as well. He'll only need to jump through 2 wormholes to reach it within half an hour. Half an hour. Half an hour was extremely long for a slaughter. But the Black Water Dragon would definitely need some time to devour all the cultivators within the Divine Blade City. He should be able to make it. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and headed for Divine Blade City. He was too far from the Divine Blade City. Even if he rushed through wormholes he would need to change constantly, and that would take some time. He could only depend on Emperor Bai. Emperor Bai naturally rushed over to Divine Blade City as soon as he could. The enormous Divine Blade City was completely covered in ice and frost as the aura of coldness rolled over the city. Countless cultivators could sense the danger, and started running for their lives, but they were no means faster than that cold breeze. In the end, all the cultivators froze like sculptures. The hidden Almighty had no way to resist it either. The black water dragon opened its mouth once again, but there was no more coldness, only a terrifying swallowing power. The swallowing power sucked in countless numbers of frozen cultivators. Bizarrely, the buildings and trees in the city were unmoved. The black water dragon obviously only wanted cultivators. More than half of the cultivators had already been eaten up within a moment of time, yet it continued to devour. But at that moment, within a hidden space in Divine Blade City, a bright light lit up, and a figure stepped out of the wormhole, immediately appearing at the void above the city. As he looked around, Emperor Bai only saw the frozen city, and that black water dragon devouring the human cultivators in a frenzy. A great murderous intent rose from Emperor Bai. Beast! Emperor Bai roared and immediately appeared in front of the black water dragon. The black water dragon could sense something, and its cold eyes flashed across. It shook its giant head around, replacing the terrifying swallowing power with the previous aura of coldness. The devastating aura of coldness could freeze even an ordinary great emperor. Even second-stage great emperors could do nothing but protect themselves from such coldness. But the black water dragon was now facing Emperor Bai. Emperor Bai was recognized as the strongest within the eternal chaotic world. Even though Jian Wushuang's powers may have exceeded Emperor Bai's after his opportunity, but he had not displayed them in front of others, therefore maintaining Emperor Bai's position as the ultimate alpha. HNGH. A simple sneer roared across the heavens like thunder. Boundless golden divine power rolled over the lands and formed a giant golden divine power sea. The golden divine power sea was in full swing, destroying the black water dragon's aura of coldness upon contact. Emperor Bai was situated at the core of the golden divine power sea. With a clench of his right fist, boundless golden divine power was concentrated in his hand. Hong! A brutal punch was let out. The black water dragon did not know how terrifying Emperor Bai was. At that moment, it opened its mouth and revealed its sharp fangs. It had intended to bite and crush Emperor Bai to death. Pang! A loud bang, then a crackling sound, as if something sharp had burst. Emperor Bai's fistful of divine power had struck one of the black water dragon's fangs. That terrifying power immediately broke its fang, leading to a painful howl on the black water dragon's side, blood gushing out of its wound. The black water dragon's body was also blasted far away. After it had recomposed itself, its eerie eyes exposed a trace of fear. It was apparent that it had truly learnt how horrifying the human cultivator in front of it was. Xiao! Without hesitation, the black water dragon turned into a dark flowing light and frantically attempted to escape. Escape? Not on my watch. How could it be that easy? Emperor Bai said coldly. That moment, divine power rushed out of Emperor Bai's body, expanding the already vast golden divine power sea, encompassing the black water dragon as well. From the sea, golden hands rushed out and grabbed the black water dragon from all sides. Some of it caught the black water dragon's tail, some caught its body, some caught its 4 claws. The golden hands pounced on the black water dragon, giving it no chance to escape. Who? The black water dragon let out a frenzied howl, filled with anger, but also with fear. Evidently, the black water dragon sensed a life-and-death crisis, and frantically roared for help. Sure enough, after it roared, at a plain not far from the Divine Blade City, the eerie man in black armor, who had been sitting down, opened his eyes suddenly. Crap! The eerie man immediately got up and rushed for the Divine Blade City in front of him. Previously, the eerie man had walked the plane at a pathetic speed, but now he was zooming. In the Divine Blade City, Emperor Bai's murderous intent was strong. Under the boundless golden divine power sea, the black water dragon had nowhere to escape. Emperor Bai struck it again and again, forcing the black water dragon to use its own body to block the attacks. Though the dragon's body was tough, it was not at its peak. Emperor Bai's attacks were strong and merciless, leaving the black water dragon severely damaged and scarred. Chapter 2237 Punisher God. Beast, die! Emperor Bai did not show any mercy and struck the black water dragon again and again. The black water dragon was wailing in pain. It was obvious that it had reached its limit at that moment. Stop! A roar echoed across the heavens. An eerie black streak of light carrying strong destructive power came bursting out, instantly breaking the golden arms holding the black water dragon down. Without the golden hands holding it back, the black water dragon roared excitedly and made its way to the source of that previous roar. Over there, the eerie man in black armor had a somber face, as a devious aura rose from him. The intensity of that aura was enough to make any ordinary cultivator shiver in fear. You finally showed up. Emperor Bai was not surprised by the entrance of another person. He knew from Jian Wushuang that there was an ancient era expert behind the black water dragon. Without a doubt, he was the one. Hiss, hiss! The black water dragon revealed an aggrieved look in front of the eerie man. The eerie man looked at the black water dragon and saw the scars and broken fang. He was devastated. How dare you beat up Scaly like this? You must have a death wish. The eerie man glared at Emperor Bai with murderous intent. Ridiculous. Emperor Bai on the other hand sneered. The golden divine power sea rose once again, now heading straight for the eerie man. Behind Emperor Bai, a large and magnificent golden shadow appeared out of thin air. The golden shadow was 99,000 feet high, and a majestic aura surrounded it. Emperor Bai made his move. The eerie man made his move as well, stepping out and instantly forming a large and ominous vortex. The ominous vortex spread out for miles, swallowing everything around it. Everything that the golden divine power sea touched in the ominous vortex devoured. In a blink of an eye, the eerie man and Emperor Bai collided in the middle of Divine Blade City. Both of them did not use any divine weapons, only their fists. Both of their fists, each containing earth-shattering destructive powers, collided. Pang! The earth split apart. Boundless divine power was destroying everything around it. The waves of that terrifying shock rolled over every corner of the city. As the ripples swept over, the void started to collapse. Beneath their feet, the enormous Divine Blade City, countless palaces and taverns were crushed into rubble, then into powder. One collision was all it took to make the entire city disappear. At the center of the terrifying power, the eerie man with murderous intent lifted his head and looked at Emperor Bai in surprise. It was no wonder he was surprised. The opponent's fist was amazingly strong, evidently stronger than him. Hong! The heavens roared. The eerie man was blasted backwards. He retreated from the center of Divine Blade City, all the way to the outskirts of it. After he had recomposed himself, he could not help but look at his right hand. His hand was now numb, tingling pain coming from the inside of his bones. So powerful, close to a chaotic divine demon. The eerie man's gaze turned solemn. He fell quiet for a while, before asking, "If I'm not wrong, you are that Emperor Bai, right?" To him, at that era, under the huge restrictions placed on the earth, only Emperor Bai could demonstrate such power. Yes, Emperor Bai admitted it directly. As Emperor Bai admitted to his identity, the eerie man's face turned sour. He was an ancient era expert and had been a powerful one back during the ancient era. But under the heavy restrictions placed on this earth, he could not demonstrate much at all, to the extent where he had some reservations against going against the chaotic realm Emperor Bai. The collision proved that Emperor Bai was invincible in the current era. Even he had to concede. After thinking of that, he sighed and said coldly, "I concede for today. Scaly, let's go." The eerie man had no intention of continuing his fight with Emperor Bai. He was angered by what Emperor Bai had done to his black water dragon, but he had no choice but to escape. However, Emperor Bai would never let him get what he wanted. "You want to go? How could it be that easy?" Emperor Bai said coldly. Immediately, the golden divine power sea rushed madly for the eerie man once again. That completely enraged the eerie man. "Emperor Bai, I no longer wish to get back at you for hurting my mount. You really think I'm afraid of you?" The eerie man was furious. If he could demonstrate his full fighting power like back in the ancient era, he would not even take Emperor Bai seriously. Even true chaotic divine demons were nothing in his eyes. He had already made concessions against ants like him, but he was not willing to let him off. Emperor Bai could not be bothered to talk. The golden divine power sea immediately rushed back towards him, covering himself completely in golden divine power. His body soared sky high, soaring to about 100 feet tall. A thick golden light shimmered on his enormous body. The golden shimmer looked like powerful golden armor. Emperor Bai's already aggressive aura grew even stronger. The 9-star armor? The eerie man frowned. Things did not end with the golden armor. A boundless aura rolled from the golden shadow behind Emperor Bai, turning into Golden Emperor. The Golden Emperor overlooked everything coldly. This is... The eerie man's face changed suddenly and had his eyes dead set on the enormous Golden Emperor. He knew what secret skill Emperor Bai was using. The Punisher God. Chapter 2238 Slaying the Dragon. The eerie man was a big shot in the ancient era, so he had seen things, and naturally he recognized the 2 secret skills Emperor Bai had demonstrated. The golden armor Emperor Bai was wearing was the 7-star Black Sex 9-star armor and had been cultivated to the golden armor scripture. It was an impressive secret skill, but within the eerie man's comprehension. It was possible to cultivate the 9-star armor to golden armor scripture if large amounts of resources were used in the current era. But when he saw the enormous Golden Emperor overseeing everything, the eerie man was stunned. The Punisher God. He recognized the secret skill Punisher God instantly. It was a formidable secret skill, although not as high in level as the 9-star armor, but its fame well exceeded the armor back in the ancient era. It was famed not for its abilities, but its harsh cultivating requirements. Even back in the absolute beginning divine world, in the ancient era, there had been few people that were qualified to even learn the secret skill. By rights, no one should even have been able to learn it in the current era, not even Emperor Bai. Damn it, Emperor Bai is already very strong, and he has the 9-star armor and Punisher God with him? No wonder people call him invincible. The eerie man's face was very sour. Even for him, he had to admit, he was no match for Emperor Bai under the restrictions placed on the earth. And Emperor Bai had no mercy. The enormous Golden Emperor looked down, while Emperor Bai in golden armor looked extremely menacing. Punisher's hell. Rumble. The enormous Golden Emperor suddenly moved, and at that moment it was as if the sky was about to collapse. Endless golden divine power sea from all corners concentrated in the giant Emperor's palm and was pushed out. Instantly, the golden divine power sea set off a huge golden wave, going in for the eerie man and black water dragon from all 4 directions. Terrifying destructive power, enough to make a 3rd stage great emperor shiver in fear, was erupting from the golden wave. The eerie man's face darkened, and eerie aura instantly surged from him, releasing a thick nether light. The black water dragon appeared beneath its feet, coldness blown from its mouth, freezing everything in sight with the eerie man's nether light. The void froze up and formed indestructible ice, blocking the giant golden wave from sweeping them away. As the golden wave swept over, the ice started collapsing. The eerie man and black water dragon were obviously struggling under the impact of the golden wave. Emperor Bai's pupils shrank slightly at the sight of that. This man must have been an elite expert during the ancient era, at least above a chaotic divine demon, maybe even stronger than Blood Emperor. Even though he's restricted by the heavens and earth, his fighting power is still much stronger than Kaiser Blood's. In terms of fighting power, he must be at a half-step divine demon by now, Emperor Bai murmured. The same restrictions placed on everyone caused ancient era experts to only demonstrate the same level of power, but the same power would turn into different levels of fighting power in different hands. Like Jian and his 2 brothers. Because they were only chaotic divine demons at their peak, so they were only able to demonstrate 3rd stage great emperor fighting powers after the restrictions. But the eerie man in front of him was beyond chaotic divine demon in his prime, and therefore he could still demonstrate half-step divine demon fighting powers. Of course, the scariest person was still Emperor 13. He used his own power to shake and move the restrictions, making him a half-step divine demon, then used that power to fight actual chaotic divine demons. I may have the complete Punisher God secret skill that increases my power immensely, but I don't think it's possible to take him down today. But I must at least kill the snake, Emperor Bai was determined. The eerie man and his black water dragon were still struggling beneath the golden wave. At that moment, The Golden Emperor behind Emperor Bai released a shiny golden light once again. With the thought of Emperor Bai's mind, the Golden Emperor's hands moved at the same time. At that moment, the two golden hands stretched and enlarged indefinitely, one hand blocking the sun, the other enveloping half of the world. Two hands surrounded the void. Those two hands gradually closed in on the eerie man and his dragon. Punish. Destroy. Emperor Bai let out a loud roar. The terrifying powers from the Golden Emperor's palms were released and spread all over the land. As they were closing, the entire void got locked down. Within the void. Crap. The eerie man's expression changed. He could feel the time-space around him being locked down. He could not escape. Not just him, but his dragon as well. The two golden hands gradually closed in. They seemed slow, but the terrifying powers they had caused the eerie man to tremble in fear. Hong! The Golden Emperor's palms finally closed in. The center void naturally was crushed into bits by the palms. Emperor Bai stood there emotionlessly as he watched a nether light burst out from the void. A hole was made, piercing through one of the golden hands as a figure came out of it. It was obviously the eerie man. As he reappeared above the void, his body was trembling hard. Emperor Bai's hit had been terrifying, but he was a big shot from the ancient era after all. It had injured him, but it was not enough to kill him. But his black water dragon exploded on impact with the palms and turned into a bloody mist instantly. 2239 left in hatred. Scaly. My Scaly! The eerie man was trembling, his face all twisted. Dead. His dragon had been accompanying him since the ancient era. It had fought alongside him and survived the ancient era battles. He was like a brother to him. It did not die in the insane ancient era battles but had died in Emperor Bai's hands. The eerie man had completely lost it. Emperor Bai! Emperor Bai! The eerie man glared at Emperor Bai with his bloodshot eyes. The hatred in his eyes was earth-shocking. I'll remember today. Not for long, I'll make sure you'll pay for this, 10-fold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. You just wait. His wailing roar resonated across the land, and the frenzy within the roar did not seem to fade away. After saying that, the eerie man escaped. As he watched the eerie man leave, Emperor Bai frowned but had no intention of chasing him. Not because he did not want to, but because the enemy had already used a secret skill to escape. He was too fast for Emperor Bai to catch and kill. Xiao! A figure appeared beside Emperor Bai. It was Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang took quite some time rushing over from his own domain. By the time he reached it, he only managed to catch a glimpse of that eerie man escaping with hatred in his heart. Jian Wushuang took a glance at that eerie man, then looked over towards Emperor Bai. Jian Wushuang's gaze shifted. He noticed the 9,900,000 feet tall Golden Emperor behind Emperor Bai. The Golden Emperor's aura was one even he dared not underestimate. Emperor Bai, this is a secret skill? Jian Wushuang was confused. It is. Emperor Bai nodded. As he retracted his aura, the Golden Emperor gradually faded into nothing as well. It's called the Punisher God. I learnt it in the first era. Unfortunately, I did not receive the entire secret skill and could not perform its full power until Emperor 13 passed it to me. Impressive. Jian Wushuang was impressed. Emperor Bai was already very impressive with his inverse cultivation's 7th step divine powers, along with his rules of order, making him the strongest amongst great emperors. With the 9-star armor and Punisher God, he was almost divine demon powers. Why, envious. Emperor Bai looked at Jian Wushuang interestingly. A bit. Jian Wushuang nodded. Regardless of the 9-star armor or Punisher God, they were all ancient era secret skills and Emperor Bai had them both. Of course, Jian Wushuang was envious. You envy me? I envy you, Emperor Bai laughed. Your inverse cultivation gives you a great advantage over others, along with your perfect ancient god clan bloodline. Your secret skill of body refinery is very terrifying as well. In terms of divine power, holy body, you are stronger than me, with many tricks up my sleeve, maybe even stronger than my 2 secret skills. Indeed, Emperor Bai had his advantages. Jian Wushuang had his as well. The mountain river map and soul-swallowing pearl alone were enough to make Emperor Bai envious. I put in a lot of effort into these 2 secret skills. The 9-star armor is easier to learn with enough time and especially resources. After the eternal chaotic world stabilizes, I'll pass it to you. For the Punisher God, the cultivating requirements are too harsh. I managed to learn it due to pure luck. Even though you're more gifted, you won't be able to learn it in the current eternal chaotic world, Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang shrugged his shoulders. He knew they were tough to learn, but he had no intention of learning it from the very beginning. Emperor Bai was overthinking. But at that moment, Xiao, 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 Xiao. 5 figures appeared at the same time. They were Jian Jian Yi, Red Dragon King, Abysmal Saint Master, and Underworld God who had rushed from the other domain. They saw the rubble of what was the Divine Blade City, and felt some remnants of power in the nearby void. They were stunned. Lord Emperor Bai, Sword Emperor, how was it? Where's the Black Water Dragon? The Red Dragon King asked. The Black Water Dragon died by my hand, but I only managed to injure the Ancient Era expert behind it. He took a great sense of hatred when he left. He will try to have his revenge soon enough, Emperor Bai said. Red Dragon King, Abysmal Saint Master and the others were elated when they heard the Black Water Dragon was dead. As for revenge. Ha ha, revenge? Getting revenge against Emperor Bai in this era? Ridiculous. Red Dragon King sniggered. He was absolutely confident in Emperor Bai's abilities. Indeed, revenge against Emperor Bai is a death wish, Abysmal Saint Master said. I'm not afraid of revenge. Even though these Ancient Era experts were good, as long as they are not as powerful as Emperor 13 or Blood Emperor, or make up some other kind of opposing blood formation, no one can stop me. I'm afraid he'll take his revenge on the Eternal Chaotic World and Sanctuary Alliance instead, Emperor Bai frowned. He is an Ancient Era expert after all. No one can stop him except Emperor Bai and me. If he is determined to get his revenge, it will get messy, Jian Wushuang said. The Sanctuary Alliance just needs to be more careful. We'll deal with it when it comes. In this era, we are the rulers, and they are nothing more than old geezers. The era belongs to us, not them. You're right, the era is ours, not the Ancient Era experts. Emperor Bai, Red Dragon King and the others nodded in agreement. Chapter 2240 Revenge. After settling the Black Dragon, Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai left for the Cold Man. He escaped. There was a possibility that he would take revenge. However, it is not possible for Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai to be on guard all the time. They gave the command to Sanctuary Alliance to track his location. If he was found, Jian Wushuang and Emperor Bai would go and take care of him. Within a secluded mountain dwelling in the Red Dragon Sanctuary, the Cold Man in black armor stood there, his face twisted with anger. He was like an enraged beast. Emperor Bai, Emperor Bai. You wait. I will not make life easy for you. His voice reverberated in the mountain dwelling. A month later, a figure approached the mountain dwelling. It was an elder with white hair. He had blurry vision and he looked like he had been through many ups and downs in life. Is this the place? He looked at the mountain in front of him. He had found the presence of the mountain dwelling after he had used his soul power to scan the area. He then started to walk towards the mountain dwelling. Within minutes, he was in the interior of the mountain dwelling and saw the Cold Man. The man looked up with a twisted face filled with savagery. The white-haired elder took a cold breath and greeted, "Greetings, Lord Jian. I am Chu He." The elder was wondering what had happened and why Lord Jiao was so angry and crazy. Chu He originated from the ancient past and was one of the subordinates of the Cold Man. During the ancient past, he had followed the Cold Man for many years. It was rare to see the Cold Man so angry and crazy. It felt like the Cold Man was about to go to extremes to achieve something. Chu He, how long were you awake? The Cold Man, Old Monster Jiao, looked at Chu He and asked casually. About 2,000 years, Chu He answered respectfully. Many of those who were in slumber around you awakened too, right? Old Monster Jiao asked randomly. Yes. Some of them have already awakened. Chu He nodded his head and replied. That's good. Old Monster Jiao nodded his head. Does my lord have any commands? Chu He asked. Curious. Scaly died. Old Monster Jiao said suddenly. What? Scaly, Lord Scaly died? Who? Who had the courage to kill Lord Scaly? Chuhi turned pale and questioned. Scaly was the rider of the man in front of him. The man in front of him treated Scaly like he was a true brother. How could his lord not be angered and go crazy if Scaly died? Emperor Bai from this era killed Scaly. I will not allow him to continue living. However, the restrictions of heaven and earth are too great and I cannot handle him alone. I need some helpers and I want you to find some for me, Old Monster Jiao said directly. So that is the case. Lord, the number of experts that have awakened and I can contact is limited. Furthermore, some of these experts are not your subordinates. If you want them to follow your orders might be. Chuhi took a deep breath and said solemnly. I understand. Tell them, I will give those who help me one divine demon nirvana elixir after we return to the absolute beginning divine world, Old Monster Jiao said. Divine demon nirvana elixir. Chuhi was shocked. Divine demon nirvana elixir had been an extremely high-level elixir back in the ancient past. This type of elixir was extremely useful for any experts in the divine demon realm as it could make them much more powerful. However, back in the ancient past, or the absolute beginning divine world, this elixir was extremely rare and most experts in the divine demon realm would not have been able to get it. Now, Old Monster Jiao was giving one of this elixir to those who were willing to help him deal with an expert in the chaotic realm. This. After taking a deep breath, Chuhi said, Don't worry, Lord. I will go and contact those experts in the divine demon realm now. With your reward, I can guarantee at least 10 experts from divine demon realm who will come and help you. Only about 10. Old Monster Jiao frowned, displeased. Lord, as you know, those who were in that battle and did not manage to escape this place were mostly injured or even killed. Their blood essence was forcefully absorbed by that formation. Many of them died during their long slumbers, or will never be able to wake up anymore. Even if there is an opportunity to leave this place now, there are not many who have managed to awaken from their slumber. Within a short period of time, I can only contact these many, Chuhi said. He was speaking the truth. Not many of the experts from the ancient past who were in slumber awakened. This was why the eternal chaotic world was so peaceful. If all the experts who were in slumber could awaken when they wanted to, there would be chaos within the eternal chaotic world. Understood, Old Monster Jiao nodded his head. Oh yes, my lord, while I was talking to one of the experts in the divine demon realm, I got news that Lord Xianxia also awakened, Chuhi said suddenly. Xianxia? That brat. Old Monster Jiao raised his eyebrows. Xianxia was an expert who had surpassed the divine demon realm. Xianxia was nothing compared to Old Monster Jiao in his prime. However, given the effect of the restrictions of heaven and earth, an expert above the divine demon realm would have similar fighting power to him. Find a way to contact Xianxia and ask him to help me, Old Monster Jiao commanded. I should be able to find him. I will try my best. However, you pissed Lord Xianxia off before, hence. Chuhi looked at Old Monster Jiao carefully and said. Old Monster Jiao did not get angry. Back in the ancient past, Old Monster Jiao indeed looked down on and pissed Xianxia off before. This was because Xianxia was nothing compared to him back then. Now, it was different. Tell him that I will owe him a favor if he agrees to help. If he agrees, I will return him the favor after we return to absolute beginning divine world. However, if he refuses, I will use all the power I have to kill him after we return to absolute beginning divine world as he will have angered me. Old Monster Jiao said coldly.